Terry, it's wonderful to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you.
Do you remember the first time we met?
Oh.
Back in high school days.
Talladega High School.
Yes.
The best high school
Absolutely.
in the state of Alabama. Right.
So has life been good to you?
Oh, it's been great.
Awesome.
It's been great. How about you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
You know what I remember is at the high school, gosh, first of all, it was really big, but you never made me feel like I was a home kid, and I appreciated that very much.
Well, to me, that's what it's all about. That's what you you give what you receive, right? And so you were always smiling and upbeat, and so it made it easy.
Well, the home kids back then, I don't know if you were aware, but a lot of times the kids would come to school and they were kind of on the outside because they had attitudes, and they were kind of outsiders in a way because they lived in a children's home instead of with a family. But the really cool thing is there were certain people you would meet in school that were just oblivious to that. They just treat them like a friend, and we were lucky to have several classes together, and you played basketball and I cheered for you, and then we wound up being on opposing teams in college. So just excited to see you again. It's been a long time.
Well, it's great to see you. And
thank you.
Again, high school was fantastic. Obviously, we had great teams and great cheerleaders and great support. But again, I think it's just, to me, what it's all about is, treating people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And so you are always just, again, very upbeat, just very easy to get along with.
It's easy to do around you, for the record.
So,
I was 15 when I ran away from home. It was my second semester of 10th grade, and I went to a school in Chelsea, so it was K through 12 at that time, and I lived in a very abusive home. I had a single mom. My father died when I was, before my 5th birthday. And we were vagabonds, basically. We moved back and forth from Iowa to Alabama. And when I left home, I wound up in a foster family for 2 weeks. It did not last longer than that because I didn't agree with what I was seeing going on. I wound up leaving that home and winding up in a detention home because it was the only place the state could put me up in the middle of the night, basically. And I spent the night there, and when I woke up the next morning, I went to an emergency shelter in Silicaga, and they were affiliated with this home, but I did not know that. And a young lady that was in college, Janie, she would come out and spend time with kids. And when she came out, she would do devotions with us, or she would play backyard football with us. One day she was sharing a story, and she told us about this kid who lived at a home and gave her another opportunity in life and went to college, and afterwards found out it was about her, and I was floored. I was supposed to go to the King's Ranch in Aniana. That's where the state had found for me an opening. 2 weeks before I went, Janie had told me about the home, and I called my state social worker and asked her if we could check into it. And we came out and visited, and it was a beautiful campus. It was like a college campus. When I went back to the shelter that night, I remember telling Mama Glone, I was like, I want to go there. The staff are absolutely amazing, and they teach you a lot of responsibility, they hold you accountable, and they keep you safe. And I think having food to eat and not being afraid of going to sleep at night, that allowed me to actually learn. And when I left home in 10th grade, I was actually even making F's. And I found out I was capable of learning. I wasn't here very long. It made all the difference in the world. By the time I graduated with honors, with an advanced diploma. I went to college, honor student. I've been very blessed. And the people here, I just can't say enough praise for, because they're so genuine with the way they love the children. And these children need to be loved. Just to have a safe place to come and, have an opportunity to flourish. It's just not something we can understand if we've not walked there or walked with them.
Well, that's fantastic. And, as I think back, I remember you being here, but it really didn't matter per se. But in high school, one of the things that's always been important to me has been service, being of service to others. And so when I left Talladega, I had an opportunity to go to Birmingham Southern. Obviously, we reconnected there, and then I started working at the gas company. And one of the things, again, that was a big driver for me, again, was service, being a service to people. And so being at Alagasco and now at Alabama Power, I have an opportunity to be of service to people and to give back. And so Doug Marshall and I had an opportunity to work together at Alagasco for probably about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I think the world of Doug. He's a great man that really cares about people, is very passionate. And so then how things work out, obviously I was in Birmingham for about 24 years of my career, and then I received an opportunity to come back home to work in the Eastern Division for Alabama Power. And so Doug and I were talking, and he mentioned the home to me, and really expressed, he showed me his love and passion that he has for the organization, and it really made it easy for me to serve. Again, because of the great work that's done here to uplift the lives of kids and families in the area. But it's even more special to me now hearing about the impact that it had on your life. It's really amazing. I mean, I don't think we realize when we have an organization like this in our own community, in our state, or even in our network, when it's, even across country, I just can't emphasize, the need that our kids and our families need to be encouraged, to be ministered to, because the healing's got to go deeper than just, our physical needs. And so I am thrilled, and I'm not surprised, but I am that you're here helping them out, because I just think that's awesome. Yeah, well, you've inspired me to give more and to do more. And so not only Doug, I think the entire staff is passionate about, what they do. I look at it as them being heroes. Absolutely. And as we look at kind of the issues that we have in the state in terms of the number of people that are living in poverty, over 250,000 kids living in poverty, and obviously that leads to other things that the home addresses, whether it's kids that's been in abusive relationships or mothers who have been in abusive relationships. Having a place to go to here like we have here at the home helps with the healing. And I think it's just so important for us to continue to support the mission and the work that's going on here. I don't know if you've heard, but I do write. The first book I wrote was A Teacher's Prayer, and it was a ministry. I felt called to publish my story. I was speaking a lot, whether it was for the Presbyterian Home or other community organizations. This home, at the time, they would get tons of letters. I mean, that's so special to children. I would, for my birthday, for Christmas, for any random reason, I'd have a stack of mail, and it would be like congratulations or happy birthday, and the home would publish articles about accomplishments, and I was fortunate to have a good high school path here, so I got the newsletter several times, thankfully, and I would get this influx of letters. And on my graduation, there was a ton of letters. And I remember getting, and I just have to do a shout out for this one because Miss Nelms was from Jasper, and I've never met her that I know of, but I always remember her cards because they were so special. And it was just, there might be a $5 bill tucked in it, may not. It wouldn't seem relevant to most people, but it was so awesome to me. And that somebody thought of me that didn't know me and wanted to share on my special day. For my graduation, you can imagine the amount of cards that came in because there was a lot. And the home published, the upcoming graduates or whatever, and all of the sponsors would send in notes. And I just want to say it means the world to know that so many people care about you and are rooting for you. Well, there was one letter from this lady, Frances Loki, and I thought, well, that's strange. That's my second grade teacher. And I was born in Iowa. I lived there until my 5th birthday. My dad died in a work accident. So my mom, who is paralyzed and she has some issues, she moved us down to Alabama to be near her family in Donovan, and so they could help take care of us. Well, then I went to Chelsea, which, like I said earlier, was K through 12, 1st through 3rd grade. Then we moved back to Iowa for 4th grade, then to Leeds, Alabama for 5th and 6th grade, then back to Iowa for 7th grade, and then we came back to Chelsea for 8th, 9th, and 10th, and that's when I ran away in 10th. The card is from a teacher I haven't seen since 2nd grade. Wow.
So when I opened the card, it said, "Dear Tammy, I'm so proud to see you've continued your education. Congratulations."
Wow.
And I kept reading, and it was from Mrs. Loki. Said, "I just want you to know I've been praying for you over all these years. I love you. Go get them." And I was floored. There was one fundraiser I was doing. It was for the Presbyterian Home, and it was in the Shoals. So that night when I was speaking at the Presbyterian Church, I shared that and how cool. You know, every little thing matters. Every card, every prayer. So these little ladies came up to me. They were retired teachers, and they were just had tears in their eyes, and they were saying, "Thank you so much for sharing that story with us." And it was neat because they looked at me and they said, "Why haven't you written this down? That would be a good story to share with people." And you need to give Miss Loki some credit. But that night, I really felt something changed, something a little bit different, like I was called to testify to that. And it was funny because I wrote it in one night. Now, we're not going to talk about how long it took to edit it, but I wrote the story that night. And I realized while writing that story, I told my husband, I have a very impatient personality at times. And when I got home, I asked my husband to go up into the attic and pull down the hope chest. He pulled it down, and I had a scrapbook from my senior year, and it had that card in it. And I thought, I wonder if there's any chance she's, still around. And so I wrote a letter to her at that address, and she was, and she responded. And it occurred to me, because she had shared some more information with me, but she and her husband had sponsored the Presbyterian Home for years. Now her husband passed away, and she continued to support the home. She lived near Chelsea, Alabama, and so she's not even directly in this area, but she knew about it because of the ministry. And she knew she had a troubled, abused child in her class and prayed for her. For her to love me unconditionally, it's so powerful. But anyway, it occurred to me while I was writing that story, my life as a teacher's prayer. And so I wound up at the home that she had supported all those years. So I think that's pretty awesome. It's just like God.
Yes, that's right. That's an amazing story. For sure.
Thank you. Yeah. I've been blessed. It's definitely been a blessing to share that testimony and just let people know how grateful. It sounds silly coming from someone you don't know probably, which you do know me, so you know I'm genuine, but just everybody makes such a difference in what they do if they want to. And every little bit counts. Simple letters, financially supporting organizations like this so they can keep going, especially in times like we've been having when things are tight and rough. I can't think of a better way to give and to feel like you're making a difference.
Yes. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing your testimony. And again, obviously we've known each other for a while, but not knowing, the entire story, it's been very, encouraging, inspiring for me. And, thank you for sharing.
Did you have any clue that I had a rough background?
I didn't have a clue at all.
I was curious about that because you're a great friend. Thank you.
It was the same. And again, to me, obviously, in terms of the energy that you provided, I think it speaks to the work of the people here at the home.
Absolutely,
in terms of having you in a nurturing, loving, caring environment. And so when you came to Talladega High School, you were able to be yourself. And that's what I know I appreciate it, and I'm sure others appreciate it as well. Well, we are very blessed, and I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to sit down with you again, just to catch up.
I know.
Obviously, we can't tell folks how long it's been since
I know.
we've
Yeah.
But great to see you.